thanks for that rousing beginning, Victoria. A few days ago, I was interviewed by a reporter, and his first question was, well, women have earned a lot of rights. Why do we need the ERA? Not to mention the rights that we have taken, they're trying to take away from us, but he says, well, why do we need the ERA? And I said, you know why? We need the ERA because we still don't have equal pay for equal work. I think many of my colleagues believe that pay inequity primarily hurts poor women. So why should the women of Paradise Valley or Scottsdale or the Catalina Foothills care? They should care because wage disparity hurts us all. It hurts women at every level. Obviously, it hurts women of color more because of the intersectionality between race, ethnicity, gender, and class. Victoria alluded to the statistics that we all know. 75 cents on the dollar, perhaps for most women, 65 cents on the dollar compared to men for African American women, 55 cents on the dollar for Latinas, and 50 cents on the dollar for Navajo women. This is unacceptable. This is wage discrimination, and it hurts not only these women and their children, but it hurts our state's economy when too many people are living in poverty. I'm from Tucson. I represent LD9, as does Victoria Steele. And for economic development in the city of Tucson, just like we do here in the city of Phoenix, we dole out tax incentives to build gleaming buildings downtown. Unfortunately, somehow these gleaming buildings in downtown Tucson have not helped us solve our 25% poverty rate. Our city is 41% Hispanic. We have far too many women living in poverty with their children in Midtown, which is an area that Victoria and I represent, but also on the west side and the south side. If we gave these women equal pay for equal work, and if we gave them and their children good opportunity for a solid public education, they wouldn't be living in poverty, and that would help us a whole lot more than building buildings. In my opinion, that's economic development. It's time for politicians to recognize that there is a dramatic wage gap in the United States. For example, the American Journal of Medicine, my other day job, we published an article a few years ago that said even women who are heads of academic medical centers, like for example at the University of Arizona College of Medicine, even those women are paid 75% of what males are. And so that's unacceptable. These women are making six-figure salaries. They're at their top of their game. They're well educated, and they're making 75%. There are a couple of lawsuits right now down at the University of Arizona because women deans have found out that they're not being paid equally. So again, all the way up and down the gamut across the ethnicities, this is a problem for women, and it's a problem for our economy in the state of Arizona. So we have to look at not only what women are making, but also look at the job descriptions. For example, should somebody who is a parking lot attendant, a job that is generally held by men, but not always, should the parking lot attendant be paid more than the daycare worker? I don't think so. I think it actually takes more knowledge, more skill to nurture and teach our young children than it does to sit in a booth and read the newspaper and make change. So there is a lot of work to do regarding wage discrimination. For example, over a lifetime, most women will lose $500,000. I want my money back. I'm over 65. I never got that pay. I worked in a pink-collar ghetto. I worked in public relations. I did women's work my entire working life. And I'm pissed off about it. So at the glacial pace that we're going, the wage gap between men and women won't close. In fact, since 1980, that wage gap has only closed by 13 cents. At that rate, women in Arizona won't close the wage gap for another 29 years. That sounds bad, but if you look again at the intersectionality of race, class, and gender, and you look at the Deep South, those women won't close that wage gap for 90 years. Oh, wow. How many of those children are being raised in poverty because of this? It's unacceptable. We need to pass the Equal Rights Amendment. Look at my daughter, Alexandra Queen. She's a well-educated, intelligent woman. She's 36 years old. She won't see pay equity in her lifetime if we don't pass the Equal Rights Amendment. And you look at my little granddaughter, Isabella Queen. She's 8 years old. She will be in her 30s before pay equity is achieved unless we pass the Equal Rights Amendment. I want to encourage all of the Arizona legislature to look at the women of Arizona. There are more women in Arizona than there are members of any political party. Women of Arizona deserve equality. The women of Arizona deserve equal pay for equal work. And we deserve equal protection under the U.S. Constitution. It's time for the Arizona legislature to give the women of Arizona equality. It's time for us to make history. We could be the last state to ratify the ERA in 2019. It's time to do this. There is no time limit on equality, and the time for the Equal Rights Amendment in Arizona is 2019. Let's do it.